r/AskReddit. Couples who have different X drives. How do you make it work in the bedroom? I don't wait for him to start. I take control, and once I do that, he realizes he's pretty damn horny too, and then we rock out. I'm a male and my so has a horrible X drive. I tried this once and it just turned into a fight. It really is exhausting and frustrating to seem like the only one ever wanting X. I could be completely wrong, but my hunch is this approach works better with a female initiating to a male than vice versa. I'm always up for it. He is not. I just have X when he wants to. He has however showed me the magical world of masturbation and has bought me several wonderful machines who will do the job when he's unable. It's pretty neat. Yeah, I bought a bunch of toys for my girl, so if I'm really tired or my ache is sore we can just use the toys. Really helps ensure that everything stays good in the bedroom. Is Ike soreness a common occurrence for you? I generally have a much higher X drive than my husband because by the time he gets back from work he's just too tired for it. Originally what we did was he would get me off when I was horny instead of having X, but I felt like it was too clinical almost and I started finding it difficult to orgasm. What I really wanted was the closeness and intimacy that comes from having X. So in the end we ended up settling on me waiting till the weekend to have X. But that he'd put extra effort in on the days where he wasn't as tired. It works for us. I'd love to have more X, but I do get a ton of cuddles in the evening, which makes up for it. Maybe switch to morning X. Edit. Sweet. My top comment is about X. Honest suggestion to those who don't like to wake up and shag. Set an alarm 10 minutes early to cuddle. It's the length of one snooze bar hit, and it does wonders for me to make your so feel loved and safe. Very tempting cuss morning X is the it, but he gets up at 6 for work so that'd mean waking at 4:30. So I can have a half hour to wake up. I'm a massive unt in the mornings if I don't ease into it, and no matter how high my X drive is. Sleep X every time. Wife and I solved this by getting into S&M. She sleeps and I masturbate. Edit. Thanks for the comments and gold. Just joking, not true yet. Pure gold and very true. Talk a lot to each other. I end up settling for HJs quite often. But that tides me over and honestly keeps me really happy, especially given I know she's doing it to make me happy / cause she cares. And then I make sure I more than pay her back when I catch her in a situation where she is in the mood. On top of that, the fact we are open about things means I don't feel any more I did when things first sort of slowed down. Like she's not interested in it or me, or that I'm doing something wrong. Communication. I second this. It was a rough 4-5 years before we got it all the way talked out. Now things are good. For me the lack of X hurt, but the rejection hurt worse. It's about compromise and communication. I'll second this. We're at 7 years and 3 kids. And it's taken a while to get there. And a lot of hurt feelings along the way. I was passive aggressive about it for a while. Direct with it for a while. But the biggest thing that actually helped was translating what I was feeling, frustration, rejection, etc., into something that made sense for her and how I know she doesn't mean to reject me. But that's how it feels. When it came down to it, I sort of explained it like this: if we haven't had X in 3 days and I seem distant, angry, frustrated with you, it's probably related, in part, to that. It's really that important and has that big of an effect on me. It'd be like me not saying I love you in 3 days. Or not touching or hugging you for 3 days. A week? That's really hard. 10 days? I get downright depressed. And not just for a moment. Even if we have X at that point. It takes a day or two to recover from that kind of low. I get that you don't want or need X that often. But you need other things. Right? The I love yous. The quality time. The hugs and conversations. I need X in that kind of way. And when you say I'm tired, or I'm on my period, or I have a headache, while those may be true, not engaging in physical intimacy in a way that relieves that stress for me, that is, gets me off. It'd be like saying I'm too tired to say I love you, or I have a headache for 3 days, so I'm not going to spend time with you. It's hard, really hard, and makes the relationship feel one-sided. So if you could think of it less like having to be ready for it and more I'm doing this because I love my husband. Not as a chore, but as an act of love. It keeps the focus on it as an act of love, not as an obligation. In short, I needed to feel loved, and 3 days is a long time for that. If I don't get it, I simply don't feel loved, no matter how much it's shown in other ways. Edit. I want to make an important distinction here. X is not at all equal to saying I love you in the way many people are interpreting it. It was more how I feel when this happens might be like how you feel when this other thing happens. Or 3-second I love you takes way less effort than X. By any interpretation. My wife responds strongly to verbal affirmation though, so that I love you mean a lot to her, probably more than it does to me. Especially if I don't say it for a while. I recommend the book The 5 Love Languages as another thing that has helped immensely. It's not for everyone, but it helped us. I just have X with him. Even if I'm not horny, just grab the lube and we are good to go. FFS, it's not that complicated. If he's horny I should let him have me. I like the warmth and the closeness and hearing his moans and knowing I'm making him feel good. Basically no matter what kind of mood I'm in. Also he never pushes me when I say no. The extremely rare instances of no or I'm not in the mood for me is an immediate cessation of all funny business in a split second. It's wonderful. It means there's never any pressure. A relationship is about making the other person your number one priority. Even over yourself, sometimes that's all there is to it. He does ridiculous things for me as well. Edit. Also lots of blowjobs. Edit 2. Guys, don't assume it's for sure just selfishness. Some girls hurt really bad if they are not fully aroused when they have X. Even with lube, not everyone's built the same. If it hurts with lube, talk to a doctor to be sure it's not something fixable and may be dangerous. Edit 3. Made some Tumblr feminists really mad, so bonus points for that. Also lots of blowjobs. Thank you for taking one for the team. You are the real MVP. Taking one for the team. Implying blowjobs aren't fun. Scheduled fornication. Every Tuesday and Saturday is happy day. Usually in the evenings after the kids have gone to bed. It might appear boring, but it is surprisingly calming. There are no surprises. But there are also no nagging, resentment or expectations. At least for us. It's business time. That's why they call them business socks. We just recently decided to go with divorce. Sucks but is what it is. Edit. Thank you all for the kind words and support on what was the most stressful day I've ever had. Reddit was a beautiful distraction and incredibly helpful. Sorry to hear bud. Hope it all works out for ya. Need to quote Louis the 100th point K. On this one, no good marriage ever ends in divorce. My wife's sex drive is rather weak, but I put on my fedora and scarf, and she is ready. A true gentleman. Moans take me now. I've been throbbing for a nice guy, TM, in my life for so long. Edit. When I found out I got gilded, this is not the comment I thought I got gilded for. Throbbing. Masturbate a lot. That's what I do. I love my wife. And her libido is not nearly as high as mine. She's willing to suck it up and have X or give blowjobs when she's not in the mood. But I feel really selfish when she does that, even though she insists I shouldn't. So, I masturbate. I honestly don't understand why it's that big a deal. Edit. Pronoun. Edit 2. For clarification, I would like to acknowledge, as many people have pointed out, that masturbation is not a magical solution. My wife and I have been married for a decade, and most of that has been very happy for both of us. Early on, though, the mismatched X drives were a very big deal, and it took a lot of talking, revelations, and consideration for us to get to the point that we are at now. I understand that she's not rejecting me. She's just rejecting X. And we both make it a point to show affection and caring in other parts of our relationship. Yep. Seconded. No shame with firing up the old browser and getting those German lesbian midgets on the screen when the need calls. As someone with a high X drive, married to someone with a low X drive, I'll throw my hat in the ring. Typically we only do it as often as she'd like. Dependent on mood/hormones the amount can vary, but it'll be at least once or twice a week. There are points where she'll do it simply because she knows I've had a rough day as well. It really just boils down to contentment and care for the other partner. Is X amazing? Hell yeah. Would I have it every day if it were up to me? Hell yeah. But marriage is about more than just X. And building a life together with my wife is amazingly satisfying. I try to respect what her body is telling her so that when she is ready we can have mind-blowing X that is successful for both of us. She tries to respect my body by engaging with me even when she doesn't feel like it. Mutual love and respect is how we make it work. Over 5 years together and 2 years married, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Edit. In regards to what qualifies as a low X drive, if it were up to my wife she would probably have X once or twice a month. But because she realizes it is something important to me, we end up doing it more often. Also, for those of you who would kill to have X once or twice a week, I offer my sincerest condolences and wish the best for you. I was in no way trying to make light of your situation. Once or twice a week is average. Statistically. And for those with high X drives, it's below what we want. My mood noticeably changes when I go for more than a week without X. Masturbation doesn't help. So it's likely more of a mental thing, feeling wanted/desired, than a physical thing. Little late to the party. But I have went through this recently. My wife and I went through a rough patch around X. The key thing for us was me realizing she has responsive desire. For the most part, she never thinks about X until she is being stimulated. This means a couple things. 1. I always initiate. 2. I have to work for it, so to speak. What I mean by 2 is dropping subtle hints throughout the day. When I get home from work, I'll do the dishes, rub her feet, etc. and drop hints of making love later, like a hug behind her when she is cooking. I thought my wife hated X, but it turns out she likes it, but only in the moment, so to speak. Keep working at it, and it will get better. If they want to compromise with you, if they are not attentive to your needs, do not be afraid to speak up and let them know it's a huge deal. It is to us high drive partners. Let them know what the stakes are. Edit. Okay, a lot of people are taking this the wrong way. I'm not doing dishes for X. I'm trying to be an attentive husband who tries to do an equal share of work and responsibility around the house. Of course there are times we have X, and I haven't done a ducking thing around the house. Or just been in a bad mood all day. And vice versa. My wife has a job where she works on her feet 12 hours a day. So you know what? Helping around the house is the right thing to do. And by default, makes her more relaxed at night. Which leads to X more than it doesn't. It works for us. So you can keep your red pill comments and PMs to yourselves. Not everyone is in a relationship where both people are high libido and X happens 5 times a day no matter what. My problem with this is that I always feel like I'm the one jumping through hoops. It makes me feel even more worthless. Especially when after all that she's still not in the mood. I felt the exact same way. I was borderline depressed over it. We had X one time over a 1.5 year span. I was miserable. That being said, it wasn't all her fault either. There's a nasty cycle that develops when you don't have X for a prolonged period of time. If you are like me, I need X to feel loved and wanted. But most importantly, I need X after a drought to bring us closer together. My wife is the opposite. She won't have X unless we already are close and in a good spot. You see the mental cycle that quickly develops. We have not had X in a month. I feel so distant. Let's get intimate to reconnect. Wife, no way. I gotta feel more loved than this before we have X. But I need intimacy to get back to normal. Wife, you shouldn't need X to love me. etc. It spirals out of control fast. And resentment builds over time. My best advice is be open and honest about your feelings. My wife wanted to make it better once I explained how I felt in detail. If your wife wants to make it work, she will compromise as well. I hope things get better. Friend. I know how lonely it can feel in bed, even though someone is sleeping next to you.